I am back here with another portable touchscreen monitor. This one's from a company called WIMAXIT or WIMAXIT, 15.6-inch IPS screen that you can set up. It does actually have mounting points as just a separate monitor if you wanted to, or like this as a portable one that you can travel with. It does have Type-C input, so at the moment I've got it from Thunderbolt into it straight out here, displaying the image you can currently see of my website, but you could use it even with gaming consoles and even your mobile phones as well, which I will demonstrate in this particular video. So the screen specs, they have a claimed 250 nits of brightness. So I'm going to check out and measure the panel. We'll also check out the color gamut and see if this is a decent portable 15.6-inch IPS monitor. So in the box we get an instruction leaflet here, a cloth to wipe down the screen. The screen itself comes in a protective case which acts as a stand for it, which I will show you very shortly. And then right underneath this protective padding, you will find our cables. So we have an HDMI to HDMI cable, USB 3 to Type-C, which is this one right here, and then a Type-C to Type-C cable. So this cover, as you can see, has a fabric to it. This is a magnetic clip here to keep it closed. And when you open it up, they have also included a screen protector if you wanted to put that on there. I don't really know if that's needed. I won't actually be using it myself. So you can see the bezels here, they are quite slim. At least the top and the side bezels are. I'll just quickly check the weight, which is very important when you're going to be lugging this around with your laptop. So it's quite heavy, 1.278 kilos, making it quite a bit heavier than the VinPot Split that I have, another 15.6-inch touch monitor. The thickness of the screen with its case is 16 millimeters. And this case is actually screwed into the screen itself. So if you need to remove it, it's just a simple matter of unscrewing these right here, which is easy to do. And then you're able just to remove it completely. But I'm going to keep it attached. It does have these two mounting points, so you could mount this on some sort of arm. So you can set it up then just as a standalone monitor. So this right here, those are two little speakers and they don't sound particularly good. They are tiny, so very tinny. They don't have really any bass whatsoever to them, but I'll give you a sample of them in this video. Type-C, which I'm currently running, it's just off the single cable because I'm running it via a Thunderbolt 3 port, so it's got enough power output to run it just by itself. So with other devices, for example, using Samsung DeX with my Samsung Galaxy S9 Plus, I will need to then plug in the top one here, which will give it then power. And that power is going to go through and also charge your phone too, if you're going to be using it at the same time. HDMI, which of course is just the 1.4A spec, so we get 60 Hz 1080p. Then on the right hand side we have a 3.5mm headphone jack, our power on / menu button, and then the menu control for the on-screen display. So holding this down will turn the screen off, and if you hold it down that will also bring it back on. And then pressing in this little control here, it's got an up and a down, so just pressing and holding this will then bring up our on-screen display. And here are the settings we have through the OSD. So backlight, I've got that set on 10, which is the maximum. Brightness, contrast, saturation, and the adjustment of the screen. Color's the most interesting, of course, with all these different options we've got there for gamma, which I have set to 2.2. The temperature color effect, advanced as well. But color is, to me, the most interesting one here. So I'll just bring it into, there's your color temperatures that you can select, which is good. Color effect, that I wouldn't use at all. And this is probably the best one here. So you can set the pre-configured settings you've got set up here. So we've got Adobe, RGB, and sRGB modes as well for the screen. So let's get on to the important part about the screen and just how is the panel that they have selected. So it is a 15.6-inch IPS panel, and of course with the Type-C input, HDMI input, and touch input. So the touch does work fine. I find the accuracy is good. It's an anti-glare panel, so you don't really have any problems with reflections. Now, if you're not running external power, so if you're just powering it, say, from a Type-C port, as I was originally, then you're not going to get the full maximum brightness out of the screen. So with only just the single cable, so this is Thunderbolt to Thunderbolt 3, I only had about 100 lux, which is not bright enough. I mean, it's okay if you're indoors, that's going to be fine. So then with the power plugged in, by the way, it does support power delivery. That's up to 20 volts, so anywhere from like 5 volts, 2 amps to 12. It's going to be able to work with this, but you will get various different levels of brightness. So maximum brightness is only about 200 lux, so about 195 to 200 depending on what area of the panel that I'm measuring. Not quite bright enough. sRGB of 56% sRGB. Oh dear, not very good. NTSC, 40%. Wow. Okay, that is low. So the Adobe RGB percent, ouch, 42%. So not a very good panel for anyone wanting to do any color correction work with this. This actually comes out, this panel, the performance of it, the color gamut, is worse than the WinPot split, which I think was about 48% Adobe RGB there. So not good for professionals at all, this screen. Now when you're looking at blacks here, you can see that it looks quite good. The edges, I'm not seeing any real screen bleed on this. So that is, at least is one positive of this panel. Now I just wanted to play a video here just to give you a sample of these speakers that do sound really actually quite pathetic. Now they're better than nothing, of course. If you happen to be using something that's just got display out and no speakers, then at least you've got that option of actually having some sound. But yeah, very flat, and they've got hardly any volume to them as well. This is maximum volume, by the way.
Opportunity to test out this camera and what it can really do, because it's a very versatile camera, of course, with that 5x.
And just to demonstrate really quick here that yes, it is working with Samsung's desktop mode, Huawei's desktop mode as well, and any other phones that do support this. So you can see how I can bring up all my apps. The touch input is working really well. It's fast, it's responsive. There is no lag with the touch. Alright, so to quickly recap here, we have a rather thicker, heavier design than the competitors' 15-inch screens. The panel itself turned out to be very disappointing, as you saw there, with the color gamut that we're getting on this. So an sRGB that is rather low, Adobe RGB also very, very low. So it's not a quality panel, it's not giving us a lot of color coverage there. The gamut, it's not for professional use. So if you're going to be color grading, your video editing, photo editing and things like that, and you wanted a monitor for that, definitely not recommended for that kind of use. If you're just editing documents, you want a second monitor perhaps that you want to use and set up with another PC and just be displaying TV series or movies or this kind of normal kind of things, that it doesn't really matter the kind of color that you're going to get through the screen, then it will be okay there. But that comes into other factors as well, like the speakers, they're terrible, they're not good at all on these, they're very flat, tiny little speakers. Now of course it's great to have that option, because if you had some tech out there that was a simple, maybe you're plugging this straight into a PC that doesn't have any speakers, then you've got the speakers. I understand that, so it's great to have, but they're just not amazing there. The inputs, is good to have the Type-C input that it will run depending on the tech you've got. If it outputs enough power, like my HP Spectra with its Thunderbolt 3 port, then it will run it, but at a lower brightness setting. Now Samsung's desktop mode and Huawei's, using it, not enough power output to run the whole screen just by itself. You will need the external power then. And of course running the external power, which supports power delivery, you will get then the full 200 lux of brightness. The other factor too for me, the biggest one, is the price of this. So if the screen was a very high quality, matte coated, super bright, and had a really good sRGB and Adobe RGB coverage and NTSC, then they could justify their price. But I've seen that it's selling for about £299 on Amazon. That to me is really expensive and overpriced for what it is. So I believe there are better options out there. And thank you so much for watching this review of a portable 15.6-inch IPS panel. Please do like and subscribe for more, and I hope to see you back on the channel. Bye for now.